Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear will shake your soul. The metal door of the execution chamber slammed shut. Officer Maria Torres stood frozen in her boots, the faint hum of the fluorescent lights echoing off the cold concrete walls. In front of her sat Ethan Cole, his wrists shackled, eyes calm, almost too calm for a man minutes away from his final breath. "Officer Torres," he said softly, "before this ends, I have one last request." The warden, 2 guards, and a state witness turned toward him. The room went still. The clock ticked down. Maria swallowed hard, the weight of procedure pressing on her chest. "You know the rules, Ethan. You've already had your final meal." He smiled faintly. "It's not food I want." He paused, eyes locking onto hers. "I just want to talk to her, the daughter of the man I killed." A cold silence cut through the room. Even the air conditioner seemed to stop. Maria felt the hair on her neck rise. The victim's daughter, she was in her early 20s, now living under witness protection. No inmate had ever asked for such a thing. The warden shook his head. "Denied. That's not part of protocol." But Ethan didn't flinch. "Then let me record something for her. Not for forgiveness. Just the truth. She deserves that much." Maria looked into his eyes. There was no arrogance left, no excuses, just something raw, almost human. She turned to the warden. "Sir, maybe we should at least hear him out." That was when everything began to spiral. 6 months earlier, Maria had just transferred to San Quintin from a smaller facility in Fresno. She'd always been known for her calm, by-the-book demeanor, the kind of officer who didn't flinch at inmate threats or late-night alarms. But San Quintin was different. Here, the prisoners weren't just criminals. They were names the whole state knew. Murderers. Gang leaders. People who had stared down judges and smiled when given life sentences. Ethan Cole's name came up on her first day. He was convicted for the brutal killing of a local shop owner during a failed robbery. The evidence was clear: fingerprints, DNA, confession. But there was something odd. A rumor whispered among guards that Ethan had taken the fall for someone else. Maria didn't believe prison gossip until she met him. Unlike most inmates, Ethan was polite, reserved. He spent his time reading law books and writing letters no one ever claimed. Every week, he'd ask the mailroom clerk if any of his letters had been sent to Lily Parker. Every week, the answer was the same: returned to sender. Lily Parker was the daughter of the man he killed. Maria started noticing small things: how Ethan refused extra rations, how he often gave his phone time to other inmates, how he flinched whenever guards joked about justice being served. There was guilt in him, but it wasn't just guilt. It was something deeper. One night, as Maria was doing her rounds, she heard faint humming from Ethan's cell. It was an old lullaby, "You Are My Sunshine." She froze. That same song had played in the background of the courtroom footage from years ago, during the victim's funeral. She couldn't shake it. Days later, she reviewed the case file. The evidence was airtight, except for one thing: the security footage from the store had been partially corrupted. The angle never clearly showed the shooter's face. Ethan's prints were on the gun, but not on the cash register. Someone else had handled it. Maria started asking quiet questions about the missing footage, about Ethan's supposed accomplice. Her curiosity didn't sit well with the senior officers. "You're not a detective, Torres. Stick to your post," her supervisor warned. But something in her gut told her there was more to Ethan's story. And now, 6 months later, as he sat before her awaiting his death, she realized he might have been trying to confess something else all along. "Officer Torres," Ethan said, voice steady, "they think they know what happened. But I never pulled the trigger. I tried to stop it. I swear to God I tried." Maria's breath caught. "Then why confess?" "Because the man who did it was my brother." The warden cut in sharply. "That's enough. Proceed with protocol." Ethan's eyes didn't leave Maria's. "Please," he said, voice trembling. "Let me record the truth before I die." It's not about forgiveness. It's about the girl knowing why. Maria stood there, torn between the law she swore to uphold and the truth she felt pulsing beneath his words. She looked to the warden, but before she could speak, the intercom crackled to life. "Warden, urgent message from Sacramento. Hold the execution. Court order incoming." The room froze. Ethan lowered his head. Maria's heart raced. "What's going on?" she whispered. The warden frowned, gripping the phone. "Apparently, new evidence has surfaced." Maria's eyes darted to Ethan. His lips curved into a faint, tragic smile. And then, the power went out. Darkness swallowed the execution chamber. The steady hum of the lights vanished, replaced by the sharp gasp of officers reaching for flashlights. Metal clanked. Someone shouted, "Power back up! Now!" But Officer Maria Torres didn't move. Her eyes stayed fixed on Ethan Cole, the condemned man sitting in silence, faint blue emergency lights flickering across his face. When the generators kicked back in, the intercom crackled again. "Warden, the governor's office is on the line. Immediate stay of execution." Whispers filled the room. The warden's jaw tightened. "Get me that call." He motioned to Maria. "Escort the prisoner back to his cell. Now." Maria nodded, but Ethan's eyes told her something else. He knew this was coming. As she walked him down the dim hallway, chains clinking with each slow step, he whispered, "You think justice means the truth always wins. But in here, truth is just paperwork waiting to be lost." She didn't reply. But his words stuck. That night, the prison was restless. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said a new confession had surfaced. Others said a witness had come forward after years of silence. Maria stayed late, watching as legal officers rushed in and out of the warden's office carrying stacks of files. At 2:13 a.m., she was summoned. The warden's face was pale, phone still in hand. "Torres, you spoke with Cole earlier today, right?" "Yes, sir." He sighed. "New information came in. A man in Nevada just turned himself in, claiming he was the real shooter that night, Ethan's older brother, Samuel Cole." Maria felt the air leave her lungs. "He says Ethan took the blame because Samuel had a newborn at the time. Claims the gun was stolen, and Ethan was trying to cover for him when the police arrived." Maria blinked. "Do we believe him?" The warden rubbed his temple. "Doesn't matter yet. The governor wants verification. The execution's on hold until we know for sure." When Maria left his office, her hands were trembling. Every instinct told her Ethan had been telling the truth all along. But if Samuel's confession was real, why now? The next morning, she visited Ethan's cell. He sat by the bars, staring at a folded piece of paper. "They told you, didn't they?" he said softly. Maria nodded. "Your brother turned himself in." Ethan smiled, a sad, tired smile. "Guess guilt finally caught up to him." "Why didn't you say something sooner?" she asked. "I tried," he said, voice breaking. "No one listened. My letters, my appeals, all ignored. It was easier for them to close the case." Maria's throat tightened. "And the victim's daughter? Lily?" He looked up at her, eyes wet. "That's why I wanted to leave her a message. She deserves to know her father didn't die for nothing. He tried to stop the robbery too. He was brave." Before Maria could answer, an alarm blared through the block. Code 12. Administrative lockdown. Guards rushed past. The intercom barked. "All units secure your sectors. Possible breach in East Wing." Maria locked Ethan's cell and followed protocol, but something felt off. The East Wing wasn't accessible from death row, unless someone let it be. Hours later, when the lockdown lifted, the warden made an announcement that sent chills through the entire facility. Samuel Cole, the man who confessed this morning, was found dead in his holding cell in Nevada. Apparent suicide. Maria froze. Ethan's brother, gone. The only man who could prove his innocence, silenced before he could testify. That night, Ethan didn't eat. He sat in the corner, staring at the wall. When Maria approached, he whispered, "They'll never let me out. Too many careers were built on my case. But if they won't let me speak, you can." "Me?" she said, confused. "You've seen the files. You know the truth now. Promise me you'll tell her. Lily. Tell her her father forgave me before I ever met her." Maria wanted to promise, but before she could, a senior officer appeared. "Torres, step away from the cell. You've been reassigned off death row, effective immediately." "What? Why?" "Orders from above." Maria's stomach dropped. She looked back at Ethan. His eyes said everything, they're covering it up. As she packed her things that night, she found a small envelope slipped under her locker door. Inside was a folded note written in neat block letters. "If anything happens to me, the truth is hidden in the music room. The place where the cameras don't see." Her heart pounded. She knew the spot, an unused chapel converted into a storage area. No surveillance. No guards. The next day, she went there before her shift. Under the old piano bench, taped to the wood, was a flash drive. She pocketed it and slipped out quietly. Back in her car, she plugged it into her laptop. It contained one video file, timestamped 2 weeks before the execution. Ethan, sitting in his cell, speaking directly into the camera. "If you're watching this, it means they finally stopped me from talking. But this is what really happened." The screen glitched. Then went black. Maria stared at her reflection in the screen, breath shaking. She looked around the parking lot. 2 correctional vehicles were idling near the exit, engines running, men inside watching her car. That was when she realized the truth wasn't meant to get out. She unplugged the drive, started her car, and sped off into the night. But she had no idea someone was already following her. The city lights blurred in Maria's windshield as she drove into the night. Her pulse raced faster than the wipers cutting through the drizzle. Every few seconds, she checked the mirror. The same dark SUV followed 2 cars behind. She turned sharply into a gas station, parked, and pretended to check her phone. The SUV rolled past slowly, its tinted windows reflecting nothing but blue neon. Then it was gone. Maria exhaled shakily and reached for the flash drive again. Ethan's voice still echoed in her head. "The truth is hidden in the music room." Back at her small apartment in Sacramento, she plugged the drive into an old laptop, offline, just in case. The screen flickered. The video started again. Ethan sat on the metal bed in his prison cell, eyes heavy but steady. "This isn't a confession," he said. "It's the only way I can prove what they buried." He reached under his mattress and pulled out a torn folder. Inside were scanned letters, crime scene photos, and a recording log from the night of the murder. "This is the real report," Ethan continued. "They changed the timestamps. The security footage that would have cleared me, it was deleted by someone high up in the department." He looked straight into the camera. "If Officer Torres sees this, you know what to do. Give this to the media. Don't trust anyone inside." Maria paused the video, heart pounding. She flipped through the digital files. One photo stopped her cold. It showed the lead detective from Ethan's case standing beside a burned-out sedan. The caption read, "Vehicle recovered, evidence compromised." That detective, now the deputy warden. Maria whispered, "Oh my God!" Before she could think, her phone buzzed. "Unknown number." She answered. A male voice said quietly, "You shouldn't have taken that drive." Then the line went dead. Maria froze. She glanced toward the window. A pair of headlights slowed in the street below. She grabbed the drive, stuffed it into her jacket, and slipped out the back. The next morning, she met with a retired journalist named Henry Blake, a man who'd once covered corruption inside the California prison system. She showed him the video. He watched in silence, then looked up. This could blow open half the department," Henry said. "If it's real." "It's real," Maria said. "I saw the original report when I first started at the prison. They told me it was misfiled." Henry nodded slowly. "If we're doing this, we'll need copies, off-grid." Once this leaks, they'll come for both of us. They arranged to meet again that night. But Henry never showed up. His car was found abandoned near the Sacramento River, doors open, keys still inside. Maria knew what that meant. She wasn't safe anymore. Still, she couldn't stop. Ethan's final wish, to clear his name and bring peace to Lily, the victim's daughter, drove her forward. So she went to the one person who might listen, Lily herself. The woman was now 23, working as a nurse in San Diego. When Maria showed up at her apartment, Lily was cautious but curious. "I don't know who you are," Lily said, arms crossed. Maria took a deep breath. "I was the officer assigned to Ethan Cole's case. I need to tell you something about your father." The room fell silent as Maria explained everything, the hidden files, the confession from Ethan's brother, and the deleted evidence. Lily's expression changed from anger to disbelief, then to heartbreak. "You're saying the man who died didn't kill my dad?" Maria nodded. "He tried to stop it. He wasn't the monster they said he was." Lily wiped her eyes. "He wrote to me. Years ago. I never opened the letters." She disappeared into her bedroom and returned with a small shoebox. Inside were dozens of unopened envelopes, all addressed in Ethan's handwriting. Maria's throat tightened. "His last wish was for you to hear his truth." Lily slowly opened one letter, voice trembling, as she read aloud. "Lily, I don't expect forgiveness. But I hope one day you'll know the man who took your father's life wasn't me. I was just a coward who thought protecting my brother was justice. If you ever read this, live your life free of hate. That's the only way I'll ever be free, too." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "All these years, I hated him. And he was innocent," Maria whispered. "He wanted peace, not revenge. That was his final request." Suddenly, a loud knock rattled the door. Maria's instincts flared. She motioned for Lily to stay quiet. "Open up, police!" But when Maria peered through the peephole, it wasn't the police. It was the deputy warden, the same man from the photo. She grabbed Lily's hand and whispered, "Back door. Now." They slipped out into the alley, disappearing into the rain. From behind them came a single shout. "Stop! Don't run!" Followed by the sound of a gun cocking. Maria didn't turn around. She just kept running. As they rounded the corner, headlights flooded the alley. A black SUV screeched to a halt, blocking their path. Maria pulled Lily behind a dumpster, breathing hard. The door opened, and a tall man stepped out, Henry Blake. "You didn't think I'd really vanish, did you?" he said with a grin. "They tried to scare me off. Didn't work." Maria stared in disbelief. "You're alive?" "Barely," he said, holding up a flash drive. "I made copies of everything. The truth's safe, and it's going public tonight." Lily stepped forward, voice shaking. "So the world will finally know." Henry nodded. "By morning." But before they could celebrate, the sound of approaching sirens filled the street. Maria turned toward Henry. "They're coming." He smiled grimly. "Then we'd better make it count." As the flashing red lights reflected off the wet pavement, Ethan's voice echoed once more in Maria's memory. "If they won't let me speak, you can." She knew what she had to do. And by sunrise, Ethan's story would no longer be a secret. Dawn broke over Sacramento like a bruise, pale orange light bleeding through dark clouds. The city was waking up, but inside a small diner on the edge of town, Maria, Henry, and Lily sat huddled in a booth, staring at a laptop screen. On it was a single folder labeled, "Ethan Cole, the real story." Henry's fingers hovered over the trackpad. "Once I upload this, there's no going back," he said. "Every piece of evidence, every hidden report, every tape, it'll all be out there." Maria glanced at Lily. "It's what he wanted. His last wish wasn't just about freedom, it was about truth." Lily nodded through quiet tears. "Then let's do it." Henry hit upload. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the progress bar filled, the screen flashed. "File published," and silence hung in the air, heavy, electric, final. They didn't know it yet, but within hours, that video would explode across social media. News stations would pick it up. Reporters would swarm San Quentin. The California Department of Corrections would scramble to issue statements. The truth was out, and it couldn't be buried again. 2 hours later, Maria's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications, calls, messages, journalists, lawyers, activists. Then came a text that made her heart stop. Unknown number, you made a mistake, Officer Torres. You think this ends with him? She looked up at Henry. They're watching us. He nodded grimly. Let them. The story's already out. By afternoon, the story dominated every major outlet. New evidence suggests wrongful execution at San Quentin. FBI to reopen case following explosive leak. Whistleblower officer under investigation for data breach. Maria watched from her apartment window as reporters gathered outside the prison gates. The world finally knew what Ethan had tried to tell them, that he was innocent, framed by the very system meant to protect justice. The deputy warden, the man who had covered up the case, was placed on immediate leave. Federal agents raided his office that same night. Inside, they found files, cash transfers, and surveillance photos, proof of a network of corruption that stretched far beyond one man. It was Ethan's last gift, a trail that exposed everything. Days turned into weeks. Lily became the face of a growing movement, speaking publicly about her father's death and Ethan's wrongful conviction. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, she said in an interview. It means ending the cycle of lies. Maria was suspended from duty but didn't care. She'd fulfilled Ethan's last wish, and maybe, in the process, found her own redemption. Still, at night, she couldn't sleep. She'd replay that final conversation with Ethan again and again in her mind. He had looked at her with calm eyes and said, "Officer Torres, promise me one thing. Don't let them make me a ghost. If they won't let me speak, you can." She knew what she had to do. And by sunrise, Ethan's story would no longer be a secret. Dawn broke over Sacramento like a bruise, pale orange light bleeding through dark clouds. The city was waking up, but inside a small diner on the edge of town, Maria, Henry, and Lily sat huddled in a booth, staring at a laptop screen. On it was a single folder labeled, "Ethan Cole, the real story." Henry's fingers hovered over the trackpad. "Once I upload this, there's no going back," he said. "Every piece of evidence, every hidden report, every tape, it'll all be out there." Maria glanced at Lily. It's what he wanted. His last wish wasn't just about freedom, it was about truth. Lily nodded through quiet tears. "Then let's do it." Henry hit upload. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the progress bar filled, the screen flashed. File published. And silence hung in the air, heavy, electric, final. They didn't know it yet, but within hours, that video would explode across social media. News stations would pick it up. Reporters would swarm San Quentin. The California Department of Corrections would scramble to issue statements. The truth was out, and it couldn't be buried again. 2 hours later, Maria's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications, calls, messages, journalists, lawyers, activists. Then came a text that made her heart stop. Unknown number, you made a mistake, Officer Torres. You think this ends with him? She looked up at Henry. They're watching us. He nodded grimly. Let them. The story's already out. By afternoon, the story dominated every major outlet. New evidence suggests wrongful execution at San Quentin. FBI to reopen case following explosive leak. Whistleblower officer under investigation for data breach. Maria watched from her apartment window as reporters gathered outside the prison gates. The world finally knew what Ethan had tried to tell them, that he was innocent, framed by the very system meant to protect justice. The deputy warden, the man who had covered up the case, was placed on immediate leave. Federal agents raided his office that same night. Inside, they found files, cash transfers, and surveillance photos, proof of a network of corruption that stretched far beyond one man. It was Ethan's last gift, a trail that exposed everything. Days turned into weeks. Lily became the face of a growing movement, speaking publicly about her father's death and Ethan's wrongful conviction. "Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting," she said in an interview. "It means ending the cycle of lies." Maria was suspended from duty but didn't care. She'd fulfilled Ethan's last wish, and maybe, in the process, found her own redemption. Still, at night, she couldn't sleep. She'd replay that final conversation with Ethan again and again in her mind. He had looked at her with calm eyes and said, "Officer Torres, promise me one thing. Don't let them make me a ghost."